And this is Andrew Clay Schaefer, Clown Prince of DevOps, and I'm here with my good friend Pete Cheslock. He's been around the DevOps block a few times. I'll let him tell a little bit more of his story, and then we'll talk about some DevOps. How you
Yeah,
doing, Pete?
good. Thanks for having me on. I'm Pete Cheslock, formerly of Dyn, currently, I guess, a DevOps rabble-rouser, and I have DevOps opinions, so I think that's all that matters nowadays.
What are the good opinions?
I think some are, a little bit from column A, a little bit from column B. Some are valid, maybe some are not.
Some we're testing. We got production and we have test.
Exactly.
What does DevOps mean to Pete Cheslock?
So I guess I take I don't know if it's called old school, it's kind of school of thought on that one, like the Adam Jacobs line of it's the cultural professional movement side of thing. The I think the biggest thing about DevOps that I kind of focus on when I think of like the DevOps culture and the community that I try to build inside of every company that I work at is one of high communication between teams and even within teams. And also so that's like kind of the culture, right, of high communication. And then from the technical side, it would be the really tight feedback loops, being able to develop and make changes and get feedback quickly. So whether you use the terms like continuous integration or continuous deployment or whatever, agile, Scrum, I mean, we like words, so those would be some of them.
So I forgot to tell everyone, although if you're really paying attention at home, you know this already, that Pete's one of our speakers for DevOps Days Pittsburgh, and just kind of give us a little bit of your journey to this. Like, what makes you a DevOps thought leader?
My talk is one weird trick to fail at DevOps or something like that. I'm still working out the how it's going to look. But it's basically the whole concept is really I want to just share kind of my 5 years, I guess, of DevOps at this point. I kind of passively was watching the scenes in 2009 and got a little bit more involved in 2010 and 2011. But talk about my experiences at a couple different companies in essentially implementing DevOps. The term is used so wildly nowadays, and I think it has so many meanings that when your executives say we want this DevOps thing, what does that mean, and what are the things that work? But also, I think I really want to spend a lot of time on the failure. I want to talk a lot about things that we tried that just did not work, or situations I was put into that didn't work, and how I got around it. So I just I find the best talks I love are just sharing stories. So I'm just gonna share my stories.
So you're going to help the community, all of us, learn from your failures. That's basically what you're offering to do.
I'm going to fail so you don't have to.
So you don't have to fail the same way.
Exactly. Yeah, because again, we want to, failure is a great thing, and I think we should embrace failure, but we want to fail in new and novel ways, because failing the same way every time is definitely not enjoyable.
Not so fun. So speaking of failures, whenever we've ended up at the same DevOps days together, we often indulge ourselves in some sushi. And there's often other people involved, and usually everyone else quits eating, but me and you are still eating. So maybe just reflect on that for a moment, and what people should expect if they end up going out to sushi with Little Idea and Cheslock.
I think it's important to know that much like training for a marathon, there's a few key pieces to know before enjoying a night of sushi and spirited DevOps conversations with Little Idea and myself. Hydrating is very important. There's a lot of salt and soy sauce, so you got to hydrate up. The unit of measurement that I think we use is measured in boats of sushi. So I think that's important to know. The scale at which we operate, big sushi, could we call it?
Big sushi. We're map reducing the sushi down to.
We do handle the distributed nature of sushi, and that it does come. It will eventually consist in our stomachs at the end.
But I just want to warn people that they don't have to try to keep up with us.
Oh, absolutely. We are trained professionals. You should not try this at home. You can ask a few other people who unwittingly came to a sushi meal with us. They left shocked surprised, maybe a little saddened as well.
But full.
Oh, you'll always leave full. No one leaves sushi hungry. That's the rule.
So what else? Is there any other parting shot you'd give? A little bit of advice. You know, we gave a little teaser of what you're going to talk about, but if you could leave the listener at home with an aha moment or wisdom from Pete, what do you got for us?
Wow, deep thoughts with Pete Cheslock. I think, I don't know, I'm very excited to go. I love the DevOps Days event style, and I even more so love talking at DevOps Days. And just to be able to share experiences, that's what DevOps Days has always been to me, is, you know, being able to hear people's experiences and what they've done and what DevOps means to them, and then breaking out into these open space formats where you can then get, you know, all this one-on-one time. So I don't know, if you're coming to DevOps Days Pittsburgh, if you see me, say hello. I don't bite. I'm nice. If you like hugs, I like to hug. And
So you're one of the Hug Ops crew, right?
I am part of the Hug Ops crew. I may or may not wear my Hug Ops T-shirt. So if you're pro hugs, you will find comfort in the fact that I will probably give you a hug, or I'll force one upon you.
One last thing, I just thought of something from the way you said what you said. When you first started getting involved in the community in these discussions, like how much of the DevOps Days conversations or that involvement, observing, and then, you know, as you said, you like to speak, how much of that did you get to bring back into those organizations, and what was like how much do you think that accelerated both your successes and failures trying to do this DevOps thing?
Yeah, so I mean, I think the biggest part of the DevOps Days events, because in 2011, I think was the first time I'd ever gone to a DevOps Days event that I actually both went to and then spoke at the same time. It was meeting all the people in the community that I could throw ideas off of and see what they would do and how they would kind of react to those ideas, and then basically continuing on those discussions after the conference, between the conferences, on like Twitter or IRC or wherever, really. So I think it's not just the tech or the culture in your own company. It's like the external community that you can chat with, and you can basically test out ideas in safe places and also see how people might have done it. Then you can take all that stuff back internally and talk about, like, well, you know, friends of mine at this company, they tried this and maybe they weren't as successful, so we should think about that as you know, we plan out any sort
that
of
community
change.
of sharing is a big part of DevOps for me.
Yeah, absolutely. It's both going to be the community of sharing. I think the other biggest part of it all is the learning aspect. I still feel like there are so many things I don't know, and because of that, and it makes me so uncomfortable, I feel like I just need to keep learning. And I love these events because I learn more from people's experiences and hearing what they talk about in their kind of DevOps evolution, that you know, it makes the event really worthwhile for me.
I think this is true for DevOps Days, you know, Velocity, some of these other kind of community events. When you see what someone else has accomplished and how they did it, and maybe you didn't even have that, you know, as something that was possible before, then all of a sudden it becomes possible because someone did it. You saw them do it, and in DevOps community, like, they'll probably tell you exactly how to do it.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's the biggest part, and I think that's the part I'm kind of going to focus on with my talk, is that these are attainable, even though they're huge, massive challenges that you have to kind of overcome as a change agent in any company. They're attainable challenges. It's just they're not overnight. There are no overnight successes. They're
So
like.
so what you have to do is you have to break them down into little sushi-sized bites, and then
Exactly.
one bite at a time, make all the problems disappear.
And, you know, as you eat that sushi and you find that it wasn't to your taste, you get the quick feedback loop for the next boat that arrives.
Yeah, don't order that roll next time. So I'm looking forward to seeing you. It's going to be you, a bunch of other people we know. We're going to have DevOps Days Pittsburgh. It's going to be awesome. Looking forward to it. Definitely going to be sushi, some DevOps. Awesome. What else you got?
I think that's it. I think there's going to be a lot of sushi and a little bit of DevOps. So.
All right, Dave, goodbye.
Yep.
Cheers,
Thanks.
Pete.